In. Here we go.
Okay.
How you doing, everybody? This is Dennis Michelson. Welcome to the Matchup Lab here on the sportsaffiliation.com. And joining me as he does each and every week on the Matchup Lab, he is the fantasy professor. He's a real professor. It's John Bush. And John, we've got some real dicey matchups to
Spicy dicey. Yeah.
dicey
Yeah.
matchups to
Yeah.
decipher here in the data
Yeah.
lab.
Yeah. We have our regular podcast. We went over three of these games. So if you'll head over there, you can check out our analysis of KC Jacksonville, New Orleans Giants, and what was the other one we did?
Dallas and the New York Jets.
Jets. So those three have been covered in our other podcast, scienceoffantasyfootball.com. Check it out. But on our sister station, we're doing the Matchup Lab, and we are going to look at squirrels and huskies, Dennis, and people may not know what that really means. Squirrels and
So,
huskies. Sounds
so
crazy.
yeah, it does sound crazy, but squirrels are an annoying creature if you own a dog.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
they like to chatter at your dog, and so the low scoring games, they're like those annoying chattering squirrels that are, and they're just not great eating. I'm sorry. I
No,
maybe I
no,
haven't found the right
no.
recipe, but they
Yeah.
are just
Squirrel
not
and
good.
dog.
They are just not great eating. So the squirrel games are the ones you want to avoid. They're the low scoring games, and we don't like those for
No.
fantasy football. And not only is the squirreliest game a squirrel, it is
Yeah.
a European. It is
Squirrel,
a
even rare. Yeah,
Londonary squirrel.
yeah. It chatters in between sips of tea, and it still's disgusting, and we don't like it. And the
No,
opposite are the fluffy, loving games that love our teams, lots of points spread around, and we like those. So we move towards those, especially in flex, folks. And like I said, in flex, we move away from the squirrely games, the tough ones, unless you're in a bind. I mean, it's what, it's bye weeks as well. So I understand. I got almost 40 teams, so I understand. You get in bind and you're playing crazy lineups that you don't like. And I don't know what to say. And I wish I could solve it for everybody, but I can't.
but my diary says I do better during bye weeks when I have to make those tough decisions. So
Yeah.
I have learned to enjoy them, but you're right. Embrace the Huskies, not the Squirrels, when it comes to tough matchups.
Yep.
Minnesota and Cleveland
Yeah, I'm
in
looking at
London,
it, Dennis.
England,
Yeah.
and it could be a rain game.
Oh my goodness. Well, Vegas, and it may have changed, 21, 14, 36. I'm sure in my data, there may have been a 30, I want to say a 33 or 34 maybe, but it doesn't get much lower than that. That's just extra sad. So that's the whole thing of a squirrel. If there's no points, I mean, if the pie is so small, even your in-laws are not happy. What do you do? So that, remember the pie's going to be cut extra thin. Those English folks, especially towards the American, they try to cut our victuals. That's why we had to kick them out hundreds of years ago. We wanted our squirrel and dumplings, and they didn't go with their tea and crumpets. So uh, Minnesota though should win according to Vegas. Spread 3.5. Nobody's really home or away, so I'm gonna do home away tendencies as away. Cleveland, quote, is at home, but they're not. So what does that mean? They get their name on the center field or something? Is that, or they get the call the coin flip? I don't know what the rules are. or they get a cricket bat to hit one player and knock them out. I don't know. What do they get to do, Dennis?
I,
What makes it a foreign home game? I don't
they get
understand the rules.
they get money because they sold one of their home
Oh,
games. So
oh,
yes, but
so that's what it is. I thought
that's
maybe they
all it
got the
is.
coin flip or something, or cricket bats. Dennis chase each other around. Now there you go. Now I'd pay for that. Here, be each other cricket bats. Uh, Cleveland, they have an opportunity in their rushing. It's just Judkins should slice and dice the Minnesota rushing D, because Minnesota, kind of like another team that I know, is tough and rough against passing. So be cautious of playing Gabriel, is that his name? And the wide receivers. Tillman is
Yes.
out. I know people were rushing to get Bond. I did, but this could be a lean week to play him. Dennis and I had that discussion. We like Malik Washington in Miami, one of the pickups this week, and Hyatt Jalen. Is it Jalen or Hyatt from
Yes.
the Giants?
Yes.
Yeah, over
Yes.
Bond,
For this
but you
week.
can play the kicker, and each D is worth a stab, especially if it rains. Seems to me that Minnesota and Cleveland's D, Cleveland was my number one pickup of the week. Minnesota was like three or four, but they were in the mix. So I think either one could be fine as a streamer. Minnesota, Cleveland is not joking. And Dennis, they shut everybody down. They don't like to give anything to anybody, but they turn over things. So, like I said, that makes the Minnesota D really pretty good. So that was interesting. Looks like the wide receivers for Minnesota, Justin Jefferson, should pull this out for Minnesota. At least that's the DAP scenario. Cleveland is 3% efficient in offensive scoring and
Ooh.
yards, Dennis. It doesn't matter, it doesn't measure defensive scoring. This is just offensive efficiency. Minnesota 83, kicking butt and taking names. Uh, Away, Minnesota does worse away, 23% less at away games. Cleveland only 8. So Cleveland gets the advantage there. Cleveland away rushes more, passes about the same. So their tendency is what the Minnesota D is giving for Judkins. That's very intriguing. Minnesota away is all about the pass, which is what Cleveland would give up if they're going to give up anything. So each team looks like their strengths are what the away games tendencies have given them. So it looks like Minnesota, Vegas is suggesting that Jefferson and maybe Addison will combine, and that will put them over Cleveland. But I'm not sure there's going to be 36 points. This could be, if it rains, and it could be 10-3 or so. It could be crazy scoring, Dennis. Crazy.
This is a
Squirrely.
dodgy. This
Squirrely.
is a dodgy game that I would be
Oh my
avoiding
God.
if I could, because
Dennis's English
Cleveland
cousin jumping in.
Cleveland has a new bloke at quarterback, and it could be a bit of a problem, but he could be gobsmacked in this one. So I would hold on to my quid, and I would not make any extravagant wagers here on this game. And I do believe that the Browns might be a little more knackered than Minnesota because those blokes stayed overseas between the last week to this week. So I do believe that Minnesota is going to be the chosen one that will get to be saluted by the king. And 36 is such a pittance of points that I have a hard time taking the under, but I'll save my quid and I will not make a wager on this. But if I had to, I would take the over in this one just barely. But avoid this game if you could, because you could be faffing around by playing too many players from this game. Let's go on to Houston and Baltimore before I get in any more trouble.
You could send your cousin back there. Tell him. Let's
That was
see.
Nigel, by the way. He
Lord
just
Nigel. Yeah, he's Nigel. All
yes,
right. Houston,
Nigel. Yes,
Baltimore. Is that who we're?
yes.
Yeah,
Houston, Baltimore. Yes. Let's look at this one. This is going to be an interesting game.
yeah.
New
Yes.
quarterback for Baltimore.
Yeah.
Lamar hurt.
Yeah. He's wounded. Houston 23, Baltimore 18. Vegas loves Houston. At least I think so. 2.5 point spread, 40.5. That's still lean. So Houston is an away favorite. Wow. An away favorite. So that's always intriguing. Baltimore is at home. Baltimore's going to have to use their running here. So King Henry needs to do something, get off the throne and get us some points here, Dennis. So uh, each D is streaming. Be careful of the kicker. Mark Andrews might contribute. That looks like there's a little bit there, not much. It's going to be quite interesting to see how the quarterback does with this tough Houston D here. Houston is away, and it's play them all day long. Play Houston. Woody Marks. If you got to play Chubb, he should get you something, maybe. Nico Collins. I love Schultz as my tight end streamer this week, kicker, and maybe a D if you need to stream. I like that. Baltimore is super efficient. Houston is not. Both these teams of home love it. Houston doesn't. So another concern for Houston, even though they're favored, Houston away, 17% less rushing, 20% more passing. So it almost seems a Collins Schultz gain to me. But Woody Marks catches out of the backfield. So I think it's all hands on deck and they're scoring more. Maybe 40 is a little low here. I think it's Baltimore's the problem. Uh, they don't love away, and I mean they love home, but they don't rush a lot. They pass more, and that's exactly opposite what the defense is giving. So they're going in to a scenario that is counter to their tendency here, whereas Houston gets it every way they want it.
Yeah, this is a game that comes down to the quarterback play. And while CJ Stroud has not exactly been lighting it up, was really unimpressed with Cooper Rush off the bench now. That was against a very tough Kansas City defense, but I'm going to take Houston in this one as much as I don't like taking Houston away against Baltimore. I just think it comes down to the quarterback play. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored here, though. I think Derrick Henry has a big game, and I'm taking the over. Let's go to the Husky games. Let's go New England and Buffalo.
New England and Buffalo. Wow. Dennis, you're being rather jaunty today. I like that. New England and Buffalo. Okay, well, look at that. 7.5, 8 point. Wow. So Buffalo scores everything. Okay, game 13. It is right here. Here it is. 32, 17, 7.5, 50, 49.5, 50. Lots of points by Buffalo. Again, every week with Buffalo and these lesser teams, I'm always questioning, does Buffalo need to run the score? Detroit loves to run up points. Buffalo, I think they're happy with just winning. So I don't know. Just be cautious. They may pull people if it gets out of hand. I hope Drake May keeps it real and this is an over. I hope. And I think New England keeps Buffalo going. And I think we keep collecting them. Buffalo is at home. There's nothing that scares me on the Dabs. Buffalo's a great streaming D this week. Dalton Kincaid has an opportunity. Picking the right wide receiver will get you points. It's just who you got. And Cook should not really have any problem. A little bit, but instead of he may get one touchdown instead of two or three this week. So you're playing just about everybody except which wide receiver. There's the trick. And I'm not sure I know the trick, but I do kind of like Kincaid a little bit. And I like that. So New England away, tough against Hunter Henry. And Hunter has pulled their cojones out of the fire. Whew. Buffalo's going to try to take Hunter Henry and shut him down. So that means the running backs might be the advantage, except which running back do you play? They're
Oh,
splitting, and then Gibson is not going away. It almost seems a three-way split in some ways,
yeah.
and so it could be hot hand, Dennis. It could be crazy how they do this. So I'm cautious. You got to play Diggs. He's been coming on, and that's for sure the one I'll play. Hunter Henry, you probably got to play him, but I don't know. Buffalo is 70% efficient versus New England at 60. So actually, New England's closer. Given the spread, you would think the efficiency of New England be worse, but they're not. New England's kind of coming on a little bit, so this could be tricky on what Vegas thinks here. Buffalo 21% better at home. They love to pass, not to rush at home, which is kind of interesting given they have Cook. So, but uh, I think Cook's going to get his, even though the tendency is to rush. Cook's so efficient, he doesn't need a lot of opportunities. New England, being away, is all about the rush. So that's not good for Diggs. 47% less in Henry. So little, I'm going to play them, but I'm not happy about that split at all. Not happy about Vegas's opinion. If I'm playing New England players, Henry and Diggs, not happy about that, and their tendency split. I'm not happy as well, Dennis.
Yeah, this is a game that I actually think will be closer than the 8 point spread. So that's reason to even like James Cook a little more because I think they'll be trying to close this game out at some point. So I would take New England +8, but I like Buffalo to win the game and I like the over. The right wide receiver for Buffalo, the
Yeah,
answer might be neither, but
neither.
the if you had to choose between them, I think I was wrong. I thought Keon Coleman would emerge this year as the go-to guy. He has
Mhm.
not. It has been Shakir by just an eyelash, and that's what your data shows
Yeah,
as
I
well.
was just looking. It looks like 50-50. I mean, if you're really in a bind, you might play them both. They may both get a touchdown this week.
And
But I
that is a
definitely I think Kincaid has an opportunity to score, and I love Cooks. I mean, I love everybody. I like Cook, Kincaid, and I like Coleman and Shakir. But obviously, Cook and Kincaid have the advantage this week.
and Coleman is very tight, touchdown dependent. He's almost acting more like a tight end with his scoring this
Yeah.
year. But this is a good opportunity for him to catch a touchdown pass. So agree with you. It's a tough choice between those two wide receivers. I would hope they have a better option. Love James Cook, love Dalton Kincaid in
Yeah.
this game. I have a lot of Kincaid in Dynasty. I'm getting in the lineup, getting him in the lineup even as a flex this week. That's one play I really do like. Let's go to the other big, beautiful Husky game. It's Detroit and Cincinnati.
10.5 points, maybe more, 49. It's the old same thing as Buffalo. Does Detroit need 35? Detroit will run up the score. So I do like that. I'm
Yes, they
greedy.
will.
I want Sun God to collect. I probably want Williams to collect. I want Laporta. I want Sonic and Knuckles to collect. I want about 5 touchdowns, one for everybody. And if there's a sixth touchdown, let that be Goff running it in, Dennis. So I've already figured out how this needs to go. You play Detroit is my second team of the week streamer. So I like Cleveland, and so mine was Cleveland and then Detroit, and then it fell off for me. So I like both of those streamers in case you can still stream, folks. That would be my choice this week. Play them all for Detroit, even away. But Dennis, I assume there's no wind and rain or anything that would mess up Goff and his his sometimes he has weird home away splits that may be more field and wind and rain than anything versus really home away.
That's correct. And the little study that I did, which I'm not willing to put a lot of faith in it because there's just so few data points over the last
Mm-hmm.
couple of years, but under 12 miles an hour
Yeah.
and with limited crosswind, Goff's outdoor games have been very good.
Okay.
The only
So
time he struggled on a road game more than a home game is when
right,
the defense is strong. So he
right.
goes up to Green Bay, light winds, tough defense, and
Right.
lower scoring. But if you look at Goff's games against easy or
Mm-hmm.
average defenses, he can eat them up as long as the wind is under 12 and it's not raining. It will be dry, high pressure centered right over the great state of
Oh,
Ohio. So
that's
even though it's
nice.
going to be a warm day with
Yeah.
temperatures in the 80s, it should not be an exceptionally windy day. We're talking, 8 to 10 mile an hour
Okay.
winds is what I mainly expect in this one,
Okay.
especially with the late start. That the late start winds
Yeah.
will start dying off in the second half. I'm
Good.
looking for this to be a high scoring game.
Yeah.
So I love the over
Yeah.
in here.
Good.
I'm looking for
Yeah.
Browning to wake up.
Yeah,
This is
and the DAPS, there's nothing that scares me here, Dennis. And Noah Fant, I'm having to stream him, and I'm
yes.
glad to see that. I wouldn't stream the D. Cincinnati loves their home. It's 62% efficiency, 1.76 split to the home. So that's an advantage they have to get us some Higgins and Chase Love because we need that. Okay, those that tried to draft both, we were greedy and we got our hands slapped here and we're sad. But at home, it's all about the pass. Look at that 1.8, 80% more.
Wow.
Detroit away is heavily pass, 18% more pass. Rushing, they rush every which way. So it looks like a play them all for Detroit, and you hope and pray that the passing and Noah Fant gets me something. Noah Fant and Laporta might be your in-game tight end parlay, 5 catches each kind of thing. That might be worth a slim quid or two here. I'm sorry, I'm still thinking England here. Bet your quid early and often here on Detroit. Okay,
Yeah,
now you can finish. Yeah.
love Detroit to win. Love the over. Can't get enough of Detroit's players in my lineup. I would not bet this 10.5 point spread. Cincinnati could get this offense to wake up. Here's the most distressing stat, though. Chase Brown has faced contact. First contact for Chase Brown has come minus 1.5 yards. That's how bad the offensive line has been. The average in the league is closer to 3 yards, folks.
That's not good.
But I will say this. They've looked at every gap along the line that you could have a running play.
Yeah.
Every single lineman has been below the seasonal average this year. So every lineman is worse than an average lineman right now in the NFL. That's how bad Cincinnati has been. Usually, when there's a bad offensive line, there's still one positive sign.
Yeah.
No positive stats for that offensive line and for Cincinnati. You got to play Chase. You got to play Higgins. I'm even taking in one league where it's a super flex and I only have one quarterback because of buys and injuries. I'm taking a shot on Browning this week, figuring that Detroit just keeps piling up the points and Cincinnati has to get some junk time yardage in with the lack of a running game. But boy, I'd like to be in a better situation than that. So head on over to the scienceoffantasyfootball.com. The professor has some great data waiting
and Dennis,
for you.
I will put all the games, all 14 games,
Perfect,
under our podcast
perfect,
over at Science. So if you miss some of these Squirrel Husky games, you can see the game in player figures that I have. I just will post that over there. So go over there as well and check out Dennis's articles as well.
And come on back here to the sports affiliation for another matchup lab next week.
Get to work, folks.